Isabel.
And I'm Jessica, and today we are going to be talking about Arctic reindeer's color shifting eyes. So, to start off with the Arctic reindeer, their scientific name is Rangifer tarandus. In the physiological system, we are going to be focusing on with these animals are special senses, and more specifically, their eyes, because they do have seasonal changes in color and reflectance. So, why this species and structure? Well, we figured that it was very fitting to study reindeers because of the holidays coming up, and also that we have focused a lot in class on the tapetum lucidum with different labs, and this is the key structure that our presentation will be focusing on. And also, it is a very unique structure and physiological system that the reindeers possess, as they are the only known mammals to be able to change the color and reflectance of their eyes. So now to talk a little bit more specifically about Arctic reindeer and their background. These animals live in the Arctic Circle, as shown in the picture in the top, where they range from North America, where the dense Canadian forests are, all the way through Northern Asia and Northern Europe. The darker colors, like the purples and orange, represent high populations of reindeer in those areas, where the light colors, like the white, yellow, and gray, show little to no population of reindeer in those areas. In the summer, in the Arctic Circle, there's about 24 hours of daylight, whereas in the winter, there is very minimal of 0 to 1 hour of daylight. So, a little bit about the behavior of reindeers. They have strong social herding, they are long distance migrators, and they are often farmed by native populations, as shown in the picture on the bottom.
So, how humans see the visual system. Some key structures within our eyes are the cornea, iris, pupil, lens, retina, optic nerve, ciliary body, and our photoreceptors are rods and cones. And so, the path of light and how we see. The light enters our eye through our cornea. The pupil then adjusts to the light in response and passes the light onto the lens. Our lens then focuses light onto the retina, with the main goal being the light being focused on the fovea centralis. Our photoreceptors, our rods and cones, convert light into electrical impulses. Once converted, signals travel through the optic nerve to the brain, more specifically the thalamus and then the occipital lobe. And once the brain receives these signals, it interprets them as images. And some key functions of this system is to adjust to light through pupil dilation and constriction, focus images through our lens and fovea centralis, convert light to electrical impulses through our rods and cones, and send signals to the brain for image formation through the optic nerve and occipital lobe.
How reindeer see is different from how humans see. The pathway of light is similar, except the eye placement are on either sides of the head instead of in front like our eyes, and their pupils are horizontal. This helps them focus at ground level and it reduces their blind spot. They also have an additional structure called the tapetum lucidum. It is shown in these two pictures on the right side. So the way that this works is that it reflects extra light back so that they can see in low light conditions. And other animals like cats and dogs have this, but uniquely in reindeer, they're able to actually change this structure. So they have collagen fibers that are compressed together when pupils dilate during low light conditions, like the winter. When these collagen fibers compress, it actually changes the tapetum lucidum to look more like the bottom picture where it's blue. And in this, it can reflect shorter wavelengths of blue light. So this increases their sensitivity to light during the winter. Like Jess said, they only get maybe 1 hour of light during the winter. So they need to be able to see their food, which is lichen, and also see their predators, which are like wolves and polar bears. And this change in the light sensitivity helps them survive the winter.
Okay, so now to talk about figure 1. So this figure shows the hue and saturation of the tapetum lucidum in different seasons. So the red dots show the summer seasons and the blue dots show winter seasons. As we can see, the hue is ranging from 20 to 160, where the lower levels of hue from 20 to about 100 represent those lighter colors like red, orange, yellow, maybe some greens. And as we get higher in hue, color, or number, then we get into the blues and violets. So as we see with the red dots, which are the color of the tapetum lucidum in the summer sessions, they have a much larger range, but they are also in the lower saturation and hue numbers. This means that these tapetum lucidum collected from the deer in summer seasons often had more of the reds, yellows, and turquoise colors, and this is shown in the picture B on the bottom. And the winter eyes from these reindeers are shown by the blue dots, which have much higher hue levels and saturation numbers, meaning that they are a lot more solid in color and that the colors that they are those blues and violets. And those are shown in picture A at the bottom. Now, the reason for the winter eyes being more saturated is because they need to have more dense colors to be able to reflect those blue and violet lights back in the dark. Whereas the summer eyes don't have to be as densely saturated because they have a light more readily available to them. So the physiological application of this is that the tapetum lucidum changes hues to reflect light waves more present in the appropriate seasons that these reindeers are living in. So the summer eyes have more variation due to the mix of golden and turquoise colors they are able to see.
So for figure 2, they plotted wavelength in nanometers on the x-axis and reflectance of spectral radiance and photons on the y. And this figure shows the reflectance spectra of reindeer's tapetum lucidum in the summer and in the winter. And in the summer, the tapetum lucidum reflects golden yellow light, which is about 640 nanometers, whereas in the winter, it shifts to reflect shorter wavelengths of about 450 nanometers during a time where blue UV is most prevalent. And this seasonal shift corresponds to environmental light conditions where bright continuous daylight in the summer exists versus dim blue UV dominated Arctic twilight in the winter. And from a functional standpoint, this adaptation helps optimize vision by matching tapetal reflectance to the available light, and this helps reduce glare in summer and enhance sensitivity in the winter, as mentioned previously. And on the bottom image, image B represents a reindeer's eye color during the summer. And similar to figure 1, the eyes on that slide, it comes off very turquoise, green, almost yellow. And then in image C, that represents a reindeer's eye color during the winter. And again, similar to the last slide, it comes off very blue, very violet. And the physiological application, this is a perfect example of seasonal plasticity. The structure of photonic tissue is changed to improve visual performance under environmental and seasonal changes.
Okay, so in summary, the difference that we're looking at between reindeer and human eyes is the presence of the tapetum lucidum and their ability structure in order to increase light sensitivity in the winter, which is an adaptation that helps reindeers survive in those really low light conditions. Humans do not have this tapetum lucidum because we need sharp daytime vision since we're active during the daytime and we don't experience those long, low light winter months. And having the tapetum lucidum would actually decrease our sharp vision, causing some blur and glare during the bright daylight hours. So it would actually be detrimental for us to have that structure. And reindeer eye color change is unique. This hasn't been found in any other animals. They are the only animals that can change the structure of their tapetum lucidum in order to increase their light sensitivity. And then just to summarize our research findings from the two figures, our saturation and hue values of the reindeer eyes correspond to the wavelengths that the eyes are able to reflect, which corresponds to the seasonal summer-winter light changes in the Arctic Circle where they live. And it helps cater to their needs in those low light conditions. Lastly, we have our resources here. 3 scientific papers, and that is the end of our presentation on reindeer eyes.